Welcome to the Saints Martini, a cocktails and conversation podcast with your hosts, the Saint and the Halo, Warren and Irish.
Well, welcome back. Well, not welcome back, you just started. Welcome to welcome to another podcast of the Saints Martini, with, of course, myself, the Saint Warren, and, of course, the Halo Irish. And it's a special one. It's an important one. I don't know, but how are you?
It's the last one.
It's the last one, but a bit
with
like a bit like when Jeremy Clarkson announced that there would be no more Grand Tour. It's a little bit like, and in 30 seconds he sort of said, "But don't worry, it's not, because we'll be back next year."
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Grand Tour fans will know what I'm talking about. No one else will.
I'm sure. We're just Americans here. Don't mind us.
No, which we are changing the format, changing the name. Is that fair?
We're rebranding. Let's Americanize it. We're rebranding.
Okay. Here. Click. I can't click my fingers. Hang on.
We're going to make it much more shallow by Americanizing it.
No. It'll be good. Because we're going to have multi-channels. That's sort of, maybe, or am I giving?
I think what we're going to be doing is, of course, this lovely podcast that we do, because why not? But also, what I have personally coined as, and I might be ridiculous on this, which is usual, I'm calling them minicasts or subcasts in a way, but the minicasts, little weird things that we're going to be doing, 10 minutes to 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes long, that are different from what we're doing here on this podcast, which is getting really drunk, apparently.
Yes. That's what we do.
Everyone.
That's what we do. Hi. Welcome.
But I've had a lot of gin this evening. So I made a new cocktail.
Oh.
And usually we don't. Yeah. You know why? Because my mother. Okay. Yes. People don't know. I live with my mother. We share a house. We are a multi-generational household.
Can I just say, before we go any further, this is not like I live with my mother in the basement. No, it's not like that.
No.
This is
it is not.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Just so people understand, this is, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know.
Are you worried people are going to think I live in my mother's basement, Warren?
I know, yeah. No, because the first thing when people say...
I don't feel like I'm the incel type, but maybe.
No, I wouldn't have thought so, but the first thing that people think when someone says, I live with my mother, or is... But anyway, I'll shut up now.
Well, yes, go ahead.
No.
It's early in the show for you to say that, but I feel like if you do that, I'll have more time to talk uninterrupted, so we know how much I like that.
We're 3.5 minutes in, it's like Warren's always said, "Oh, shut up now."
At least we've gotten that cleared up.
Oh, dear. Anyway, please continue.
Okay, yes, we are going to be rebranding the show, and we mentioned before, we are now calling it, it's going to be Ellipses, of course, because we have to have that, but I digress. That's going to be the name of the overall arc umbrella of the website. But while we'll continue to do the podcast under this name, and I'm just going to say, like I said before, I've had a lot of gin this evening, so please don't mind my slurred speech. That just means I'm going to be more fun and harder to understand. We're going to do that, and we have a lot more stuff we're going to be adding to the website, things maybe you guys won't necessarily find through your regular podcast locations. You might have to actually just come to the website, which is going to be rebranded too. And it's not my favorite because it's all I could get at the time, but it was, It's But I Digress Podcast with a hyphen in between each word, .com. So I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry it's long. We're working on getting the shorter version of that, but until we do, live with it. You can still also find us Yeah, you can still also find us by looking up the saintsmartini.com. The same thing you guys have been looking up if you're coming to the website. And if you haven't been coming to the website, you're going to be missing a lot of extra fun things that we're going to be putting on there.
That's right. So you're still going to be able to listen to like this podcast,
which is very exciting, I'm sure.
If you're on, like iTunes, well, it's not called iTunes, it's called Apple Play now, isn't it, or something?
I don't know. I'm still calling it iTunes.
Whatever the hell it is, the Apple version anyway. Or there's Google Play, there's Spotify, there's. Oh my God, I think there's about 15 we're on or something. So whichever service you use, it's still going to come up. If you're subscribed,
I'm glad you're in charge.
It will still come up. Because, I'm actually making sure they're all still going out. So don't worry.
Yeah, I'm glad you're in charge of that. You know how
so you're still going to get the show, but what you're going to miss out on is extra stuff, which you will only get if you go to the website. And if you go to the website right now while you're listening, it won't be there. It's coming. It's not there right now. Okay, so just to, Yeah.
Oh, I'm just not going to say what I thought just now. No, I have censored myself, and you know what, America and other places, you are welcome.
Yes.
No, you're welcome.
As the British say, boom, boom. Anyway.
I am going to say, though, that if you would like me uncensored, there will be a new Minicasts for that. No.
Oh, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Don't worry, I know what you mean. It's all right.
So, I'm a good girl when I feel like it. So, the new show, I'll be posting that. Posting, yes. Posting that on the website.
Calling Dr. Freud. Sorry.
I told you I like a lot of things, Warren. Shut up. Okay, so wait. I was going to tell you about the cocktail that I made because we mentioned my mother, and then I digressed.
Yes. Which is hence why some people might understand why the new name. So anyway.
Yeah, that and my mother, but also the separate issues. Actually, the drink I had tonight is kind of a rollover from yesterday. I came downstairs yesterday after doing some work. My mother had gotten a watermelon, and she felt like it wasn't ripe enough. So she had chopped it up. She likes to do that, put it in the fridge for us to just kind of munch on. But it wasn't quite ripe enough, so she thought she'd get the juicer out. So she juiced it. And I came downstairs, and she had juiced this watermelon, and she said, I think, and I hope, for those of you who don't know, my mother is not a drinker. She will drink. She will also smoke some weed and do things like that, but she does not like to talk about it. So I'm just putting this out there. Okay. If any of you know her and she acts like she doesn't do these things, she's a freaking liar. But I came downstairs and she said,
It's like my mother. My mother doesn't drink. Just don't let her near the sherry bottle and she'll be fine.
No shit, right?
No, yeah, yeah. Anyway, all right, go on.
Okay, at least I'm honest about my vices,
I know.
Okay? I'm going to self-medicate myself into a coma in this house, but that's okay. So I came downstairs, and she had juiced the watermelon, and she turns to me and says, because my stairs, go right down into the kitchen, like, immediately. So there she is. She goes, hey, I juiced this watermelon, and I thought you could make us something with the gin. Now, when she says something with the gin, she is discussing a $65 bottle of gin.
Oh,
and I purchased
Dutch or British?
You know,
sorry, I was just curious. I was just
really no. And honestly, right now, Warren, I'm a little buzzed, and I only remember that it has the word monkey in the name. It has the word monkey in the name. Yep. That's all I remember. Okay, and it's gone. That's what I remember. So she said, I thought we could make something with gin. Now, my mother doesn't like to drink. She will always make some kind of a champagne punch or something like that if we're having a gathering, which we haven't done in a very, very long time because, as we all know, we've been stuck in COVID hell. But she decided for some reason she wanted to have something with gin. She said to me, I like gin. It's like, who doesn't like gin? right? It's a floral drink. It doesn't taste like alcohol. It's delicious.
Beautiful. I know.
Yeah, like it's really good. And she knew that I had bought a bottle of gin that I had like two 2-ounce drinks of. I had 4 ounces of this very expensive bottle. So she knew it was there. So I come down. Hey, watermelon and gin. And I was like, what the fuck are we going to make with this? She goes, I thought we could have a cocktail. Okay, we're going to have a cocktail. I don't know what to do with this. So I looked it up. So this is what happened. I made a watermelon basil gin spritzer. Because,
this sounds good.
Oh, dude, it is so good. And I say dude as an American.
No, don't worry. I'm an Australian. I'm used to New Zealanders. They call everybody either dude or bro. So yeah, I'm used to it. Yeah, so yeah.
I feel like I could. Yeah, no, yeah. I liked New Zealand. New Zealand was a good place.
Oh my God. No, I'm a New Zealander.
Like I said,
I'm a New Zealander.
I didn't see anything but the airport and.
Sorry, I'm a New Zealander, bro. bro. Bro, can I tell you, dude? Can I tell you? Yeah, can I tell you, dude, bro? It's like,
right on.
Oh my God, New Zealand! I love the death. It's a beautiful country, great people, but I'm Australian, so I make fun of them. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, look, I make fun of everybody. It doesn't mean I don't love everyone. I make fun of the conservatives. I don't love them. And we'll just move on.
I love their prime minister too. She's fantastic.
Oh my God, yeah. But okay, but let me finish this because I'm going to forget.
Yes.
Okay, Lord. See.
Sorry.
No. Don't sorry. Don't apologize to me. No, okay, so I came down. She had the watermelon juice, and we mixed it with the gin. Okay, and I put fresh basil. I muddled it in the jar. The jar. Listen to me. The glass. I muddled it with chunks of watermelon, and then the stuff she juiced. 2 ounces of gin per. And then because it also called for simple syrup, which I put a little bit in, but I thought it wasn't quite enough. So we actually put it a little bit of Sprite. So it's a lemon lime soda, like a pop.
Yep.
What you guys call it there. So put that in there.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So soft drink. In the South in America, everything's a Coke. Like, it doesn't matter what the flavor is. It's all a Coke.
It's a Coke,
okay?
right, yeah.
I thought you were going to get Coke. You came back with Dr. Pepper. This is a Coke. I don't know what you're talking about. I got a Dr. Pepper. It's a Coke. So I put that in there and then squeezed some lime in the top. And oh my God, you guys, try that. It's really, really good. And I can't remember the name of the gin, but like I said, it had monkey in it. It might have been 47 monkey or something like that. I paid way too much for it. I did. But I felt like at the time, I just felt like spending money.
Can I ask how clovey was the gin? Did it taste more like that Gordon's floral taste, or was it much more clovey, kind of cinnamon tasting gin?
No, I would think that this would be like Hendrick's. I don't know if you have Hendrick's. I think Hendrick's is kind of a mid-level gin for the most part. Okay, it wasn't the slow gin, but like the Hendrick's gin, it kind of had that same light floral to it. It's not the heaviest botanical kind of flavor that I've had in a gin. Okay. But God, it was fucking good. So I do suggest it. You guys definitely try it. If you see the basil watermelon gin drink, it doesn't necessarily call for the soda. And I felt like it was just enough to lighten it up and make it more refreshing as opposed to like a small, like a rocks glass size. If you like a tall, then that's for you then. And I actually prefer a tall because I have an inability to stop drinking it once I start drinking it.
I think a drink like that should be a tall glass drink. Just personally, I don't think a short glass suits that kind of drink. It's just myself.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. A watermelon type of drink you'd think would be refreshing.
Yeah.
You know, so you want something that's going to be a little lighter in flavor. You're going to want something that's not going to taste heavy of alcohol.
Yep.
I have that drinking machine that was purchased for me.
Yes.
And so I accidentally ordering tons and tons of new pods for it, which is ridiculous because honestly, it's cheaper for me to go and buy drinks in LA, like to fly out there and drink, and then fly home. Like that would be cheaper. But I saw the word sour on one of the things I was buying, and I was thinking amaretto sour, okay, which I love. An amaretto sour, it's very sweet, it's got a little tang to it, delicious, right? Not a whiskey sour. And I bought whiskey sours, and I was really unhappy with it, and it was so disgusting. And I'm a girl who used to drink Jack with a splash of Coke with my dad just from time to time because that's what he drank. Yeah. Besides the amaretto, that's another thing. Yeah, daddy issues, right?
Yeah. I won't go down that path, but I know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are the drinks. So yeah, whiskey sour, gross. Okay, but amaretto sour.
Whiskey
double
sour,
thumbs
no.
up.
Yeah,
No, I was so disappointed.
I don't understand how you can take such a there are certain cocktails where you can take such a beautiful base and just destroy it. Like I don't get it. But everyone's different.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. How do you take a normal nation and turn it into a fascist dictatorship? Hey, it happens.
Normal is judging.
Yeah. So whatever. Well, can I tell you what I am drinking?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what I was. Yeah, no, not interested. Sorry, next. I thought because it was the last Saints Martini, I'm having an espresso martini. I am having an espresso martini. I do actually have a little bit of whiskey here to back it up because it's almost gone. So, because we have actually been talking for a while before we hit the record button.
I know,
but it's so I thought espresso
a very
martini.
Long time, yes.
Well, I sort of thought very first drink from the very first show should be the same drink. Yep. So I'm having an espresso martini, and of course the espresso martini. It's so Melbourne, even though I know it was invented in New York, but it died out. But it was Melbourne, Australia that reinvented it because Australians decided that they wanted to join two things they love intensely, coffee and alcohol. A drink which had about a 10-year shelf life and died off suddenly came back, and now the world is embracing it. A bit like the flat white coffee. Who would have thought Australia would invent an international coffee? Freaking weird.
Warren, I don't drink coffee. So,
I know, so no idea what I'm talking about.
So I don't know what that is. No, but I do know that somebody told me that a French press was the best way to drink it. I don't know whether or not you can get that in an espresso or whatever. I don't know what you were just describing.
I actually put this out on Twitter and nobody responded, which I was really disappointed.
Because you deleted your Twitter. It's not like you lost it for calling Tommy.
No, it's not. It's there. I still have Twitter.
No. I mean, you deleted your other one.
Oh, my old one.
Started a new one. Do you think I would have done that if I had to?
Yeah,
I had 6,000 followers.
I know. I decided 5,000 followers, was a bad thing, and I should restart and embrace 70. Yeah, I know. Don't get me started. I know it was all. I know. Anyway, but my argument was of milky coffees, like barista-made milky coffees, which is the best? The American latte, the Italian cappuccino, or the Australian flat white? Because they're basically, if you go to a barista coffee shop, I'm not talking Starbucks, I'm talking a proper barista coffee shop, right? They're the main three that people are going to order. There are other ones, don't get me wrong, but they're the big three. So, which is best? Like, which is best? And I hate to admit it, I reckon the Americans win. I really believe the Americans win. Yeah, no, I really do. I think the American latte is actually now. I mean, even though most Americans actually drink, what do you drink? This filter coffee stuff, right? Drip coffee, but the
not the French press.
No.
I don't know what that is. I've seen it, but I don't know what that means, like in relation to what coffee tastes like. Because I don't like coffee unless it's tiramisu.
Right.
I know that.
Well, I know. So you're not going to drink it, but I'd be interested to know. It's out there now on the podcast. What do you guys think? Guys, and when I say guys, I mean women and men. I'm so sorry. I know I keep using that term.
Women don't listen to us.
I'm sure we must have some women that listen. There must be one. Just one. I just asked for one woman to listen. And please, let it be Karen Gillam. All right, please. If possible.
I have news, but I can't tell you on air. No.
Oh, we'll wait till after. Okay. So yes, but I actually believe.
Speaking of Karen Gillam. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
Okay.
I got excited. Sorry.
Oh, so did I. I don't have a cold shower now. I shouldn't say stuff like that.
No,
don't
say that out loud.
There will be one day where something.
Right.
You know how they say.
I almost said something so horribly awful and wonderful.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's just I can tell you right now. They say be careful about meeting your heroes. And I can still remember. Yeah, I think they do.
I think you do say it.
Yeah. And and I met one of them a couple of years ago. Well, I won't say met one of them. I was. Well, a number of people who listen to another podcast would have heard one of those people come on the show, and they definitely were one of my fucking. They were one of my teenage.
I'm such a fucking child.
That's all right. And I had that's all right. And I had to just and I think I actually literally downed 2 or 3 scotches afterwards, going, holy fucking mother bus bucket. So yeah. So I'm always scared that in some way or some shape or form, as who knows what the future will ever bring, right? That I will meet Karen Gillam and she will be just, I hear you've been saying this stuff about me, Warren. This is really inappropriate.
Warren, I didn't want to tell you, but I'm just sampling all of the things you say about her and putting them into a little bit of a thumb drive and sending it to her.
And just
that's all.
I know.
Teasing.
I know. Oh, dear.
I would never do that to you.
I know. Anyway, enough
unless you wanted me to.
Well, enough of Warren's worship of Karen Gillam.
Let's talk about mine. I like that too.
Oh dear.
I'm not going to say anything else. No, that's not true.
Now, but I
have to say something.
I should say there was some amazing news which broke. Amazing news. Now,
wait, what? Amazing.
Are you a fan, or were you a fan of the American version of The Office?
I was, but not like in the way that a lot of others were. I didn't start watching it in the same way. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch Seinfeld until it was in syndication.
Right.
Like I didn't watch it until it was in syndication because everybody said it was great. So I went, because I have a huge ego that says no. If people say it's good, it's probably not. Unless like certain people say it's cool, then yeah. No, that's my whole problem. I did, but I do like. Yeah, I did like the show.
I'm always believed that. There's often been an argument about, can you find an American franchise show of an original British show where the American one was better than the original? I actually believe The Office did that. The American Office is superior to the British Office. Where I don't believe that shows such as Three's Company was anywhere near as good as Man About the House. I don't believe that Stanford and Son was anywhere near as good as Steptoe and Son.
Wait, Warren, are you telling me that those shows were stolen from British shows and others?
Well, no, they were purchased.
Because I don't even know about.
They were purchased.
Well, I mean, also stole. Really? Stanford and Son.
Stanford and Son, yeah. Stanford and Son was they purchased the franchise of a show which ran in Britain for, about 10 years called Steptoe and Son.
Oh.
In fact, the British even made a movie, Steptoe and Son.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
All right. Well, let me just say then, yet again, as an American, I apologize to the world for our ignorance,
Well,
especially
okay,
for somebody like me, honestly, who works in the film and TV industry, and to not know that. Like, I knew The Office did, and I know a lot of our shows come from British shows. Like, I get that, but honestly, way, way, way back in the 70s, like that, I literally didn't know that, and I'm shocked and not appalled, but also like weirdly disappointed and also resigned to the fact that Americans just steal shit from wherever they fucking see it.
But then again,
But I just want people to know. Wait,
I mean,
no,
I know.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go on. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to say this right now before I forget.
Right.
Again. I apologize to anybody who thinks that my show Legion of Rue was ever stolen from Game of Thrones, because fuck those people. I've been writing that show since like 1989.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to say that, and then I'm just not going to say anything else.
And, well,
as soon as it came out, I was like, oh, this show is amazing, and oh my God, this is exactly what the fuck not the same story.
Okay.
Same vibe.
Can I say something here? I just want can I say something here?
Please.
I'm 50%
Please
of the
say
show.
something.
Okay. The Legion of Rue is in its own fantasy medieval type world. Or, you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah. It is.
I hate to say this, and your story is brilliant. I'm not talking about the story. But the idea of a mythical land that's like that, it has been done before, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like
because it is the fantasy.
Exactly right. If you want dragons, where are you going to set it, right? And this whole idea that fucking the Game of Thrones was the very first person to think of it. I'm sorry, if you honestly believe that, then go to a MAGA rally, go to fucking and listen to
don't listen to him. Don't go to a MAGA rally.
No, I don't mean this. What I mean is, you're a friggin' idiot. You're a loser. If you really believe that, I'm sorry. I can't believe people said that to you.
No. Listen, nobody said that to me. Okay, so here's the thing. No, nobody said that to me. Fuck them if they did. No, it's me thinking that, because here's the thing, and you're absolutely right, okay, that it's not the first time that a fantasy thing has been done, because, dear God, let's even discuss Tolkien, okay, who I just think is
the Princess Bride, one of the most famous movies ever written. I mean,
it is, but see, there's a formula, okay, and there's been a formula for a long time, and here's the thing I fought with, and please don't let anybody think I'm saying anything negative about the people who helped me get my pilot working, okay?
We are on air.
No, I'm not saying anything bad. This is something that they know. I fought tooth and nail to get them to understand that fantasy, because this was before Game of Thrones. This was before, because we did the actual trailer for the pilot 10 years before we actually started to shoot the pilot, which has now been 6 years ago, which I hope people understand. I had already shot, and then my footage was stolen, which is what I did in New Zealand. Cost me a lot of money. And then I didn't have any more money, but I still was trying to get it done. So out of pocket here, trying to do it 6 years ago, got some of it finished. But the hardest thing to do was to get the person who was helping me direct it, and I adore him, and he and all of his people did amazing work. But even he now will tell you that he realized after the fact that his idea of what fantasy was a comical, kind of jokey, spoofy, kind of goofy thing. Okay? What I was trying to get him to understand is that fantasy didn't have to be a joke. Fantasy didn't have to be cheesy. It didn't have to be goofy. Fantasy could be very, very deeply real. For a lot of people, it could be dark. It could be bloody. It could be violent. It could be sexual. It could be all of these things that you never, ever, ever saw in any real fantasy movie, because the people who were doing fantasy thought like he did. And when we were rewriting the pilot, so that it was more shootable for us, for what we had here, one of the things he wanted to do when he sent me a version of it was he had one of the characters who would have never done this take a frying pan and hit somebody in the head and say this really goofy line. I'm not going to say what it was because it doesn't matter. But it was this really cheesy, goofy shit. And I was like, yeah, okay, first of all, this character wouldn't give a shit about these people. She wouldn't say anything like that. And you're using like a type of comedy thing that I'm looking at in like Indiana Jones, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. The whole Marion scene where she has the frying pan and she hits the guy. Okay, look, I love Indiana Jones. But that was a very kind of comical moment within a script that was overall, for the most part, really well done.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you for 1 second?
Oh, absolutely.
We just need to put the show on pause for, honestly, 30 seconds because the Saint just has a delivery driver at his front door. Can we just pause for 1 second?
You're just going to have to remind me of my rant.
Okay, just 1 second. All right, we'll be right back. Okay. I'm very sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that.
Don't men apologize to me.
I was. Oh my God, there was a joke there. I'm not going to say it though. It's not appropriate.
No, there's always a joke there, Warren, and we should never say it. Okay.
I'm not going down that path.
Okay, so no, you are not. Period. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you reminded me. Okay, so I was talking about the Legion Road thing. The only thing I was saying, well, not the only thing. The thing I was trying to get out was the show I was doing has been being written for a very long time. And I had people working with me on this last time, especially. And honestly, before, with the footage I lost. They didn't get that fantasy didn't have to be goofy and stupid and cheesy.
That's where we were. Yeah.
Like they didn't understand that. And I kept saying to them, no, that's not what I'm talking about. This is dark. This is evil. This is like, it's not fun. This isn't fun. And they didn't get it. And I don't want to give too much away because I do at some point hope people will get to see the pilot for my series. But again, I don't want people to think that it was because it's like that because of Game of Thrones. Like literally, when I saw Game of Thrones, the trailer, they showed the first scene, like the first scene of the first episode, and I was entranced. I love fantasy, and I was like, oh my God, this is dark and it's creepy and then when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is exactly the feeling I wanted for my show, and now I know everybody's going to think it's because of that.
But I do think one of the problems, though, the late 90s, early thousands, there was this ideology. Well, at least, I mean, look, I can't speak from experience. I can only speak from as a viewer. You can speak from experience. I can only speak as a viewer. But all of these fantasy shows, whether it be Sheena, for argument's sake, whether it be, in New Zealand, with the breast knife. Oh, my God. Lucy Lawless.
That was Blood and Sand, wasn't that?
No, that was much later.
That was Xena.
Xena, and Hercules, with the asshole. But anyway, sometimes assholes get roles.
Kevin Sorbo,
I know. But anyway, and then we had Relic Hunter with
I never watched that.
The problem was it was kind of like taking Indiana Jones and turning him into a private investigator in modern times. It was kind of okay, but the problem was the idea wasn't bad. There just wasn't the budget to back it up. And once again, it was like you said, it had to be funny. Do you know what I mean? It had to be cheesy, and it's like...
There's these...
Yeah. Right?
That's what made me upset.
And it's a bit like... And I actually think that those adventure shows, which were very popular at that, at the turn of the millennium, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All of them suffer from cheese-itis.
Yes.
They
and
really
look,
do.
Warren, you know how much I love Xena. You know how much I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. It was the cheese that made me go, but the other moments, it was the other moments that made me have hope. Because, I mean, the only books I really loved growing up were fantasy. And I live in that because, let's be honest, everybody's life isn't always, sunshine and ice cream all the time. So I actually love to create fantasy worlds. It's not that I live in them all the time, but it sure is nice to escape to them once in a while, don't you think?
I do. I think I can say... I'll just be careful how I say this. When I first embraced the Saint novels, which was, interestingly enough, before I had actually seen anything on screen, TV, movies, even though the movies had been made in the 30s, I still hadn't seen them. And the first time I embraced it was a novel I got from the local library, and I read it. And it was during a time when I was young. Let's just say my parents were having difficulties. Shall we just say that? My parents are very much in love today. There's no problems. I want to get that out there, right?
Shit happens, man.
Right? But they were going through where, let's say, in the dark, late at night, you could hear things as a young child that made you very scared. All right? And I lived, and I'll...
There's two ways to take that.
And I'll be... Well, I mean, I'll be honest, because I don't want to bring a downer on all of this, but I was really scared. Like, you know how, you see children who literally go back into a corner of a room, because they're just trying to hide from what the... And I kind of was a bit... went through a small stage like that, and I read this book about this man who controlled every aspect of life around him. He was amazingly suave and stylish and cool, and he, and he was a criminal, but he didn't steal from poor people. He only stole from rich people. He was like Robin Hood, and he wouldn't overthrow a government unless the government was corrupt.
Right.
And I suddenly thought, wow, I want to meet this man. I want to meet this man. And even though it was a fantasy character, but then I still remember I started going to school, and I said to my mother, because I just used to wear trousers, shirt, tie, and jumper when I used to go to school.
Yeah.
And I said, can I have a blazer? Like, can I have the full suit thing? Because I wanted to start dressing like the saint. And,
right on.
Yeah, and it's so, I just thought I'd just share that with some people,
No, I think that's cool, because I think that's something a lot of people can kind of relate to. I think as kids, especially if you're going through a situation, and every kid has different situations, but every kid probably, not every. I'm sure there are a few kids out there that have a perfect life.
Yeah, there are
whose parents
some.
did nothing but dote on their every moment and make sure, not saying that they were overly protective, but their parents did exactly the right things all the time. My parents didn't do exactly the right things all the time, sure as hell, and I sure didn't. But yet, we are the products of the life that we had as we were growing up. And I think a lot of us reached for something to make us feel more secure, or to make us feel more like stronger within our own being in a way. I think fantasy did that for me. I started reading it later, but I guess on my own, but I always read it. I had it read to me. There was never really any nonfiction read, unless it was a history book or things on dinosaurs, which we all know now was pretty much some fiction, okay? Some fiction writing with the dinosaurs. As I really felt like my favorite dinosaur growing up, which I drew all the time, was a brontosaurus.
Which doesn't exist.
Which I have learned now doesn't fucking exist.
It's not a real animal.
Yeah,
it's not a real animal. I know.
Science.
I know, yeah. Well, actually, I should say, it's not the scientist's fault. That's actually media books writers. Oh, no.
That's a joke for me because I'm a big science girl. But that was funny to me to go, hey, wait a minute, what do you mean the brontosaurus doesn't exist? I straight up drew that shit for years.
I know. I was the same. I grew up with this idea. I think there's even an episode with John Pertwee where there are dinosaurs walking around London. It was actually done pre-Peter Capaldi, Dinosaurs in London. And so this is from the 1970s. And he actually says, hopefully I'll just meet a brontosaurus. And so so that idea had written itself into popular culture. Everybody thought the brontosaurus was a real animal. I know. We suddenly realised and I think actually Jurassic Park had a lot to do with people actually starting to research this stuff, look into it, and realise, there was no such animal. This is just a fantasy.
I think scientists knew that before Jurassic Park. I don't know how many people still know it, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. I know it's not a thing now because I wanted to draw brontosauruses after that. And I, the things I showed my kid, I showed him dinosaurs initially. One of his first real bedroom kind of decors, I found dinosaur curtains at a thrift store that had a melon, a salmon color of some of the dinosaurs in them. Yep. So his whole room, I painted his dresser a salmon color to match these dinosaur curtains. But they had brontosauruses on them. And I was like, wait a minute, this isn't a thing. I'm just going to have to say, it's not.
There's a great episode of The Vicar of Dibley, which is a British show from the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was Dawn French who plays the vicar, the priest. And it's set in this rural country town in England. And it's if you haven't seen The Vicar of Dibley, I seriously recommend you watch it. It is an hilarious show, and it's not offensive to the church. It seriously is not. But at the same time, it's
I don't care about being offensive to the church.
No, but it's absolutely hilarious. And there's this one thing where there's a giant storm, right? And the stained glass window in the church is smashed. And so they're trying to raise money to put a huge stained glass window in the church. And the vicar says, all right, we're trying to work out what we should do. And we thought maybe, because there's all the children in the town, we'll involve them and we'll do Noah's Ark. Even though Noah's Ark was bullshit, but anyway, that's not the point. I know, but that's not the point, right? Okay. And they said, we'll do Noah's Ark. And then we said, and what we'll do is we'll let the children choose what animals will be in the stained glass window. So she goes to the local school, right? And she's there and she says, hi, I'm your vicar, and right, I'm your priest. And she goes, now, we're doing the thing, and we want you to choose what animals there would be. And it says, so who has the first suggestion? And the first kid says, Velociraptor. It says, no, maybe not a velociraptor. And this one sort of goes, T-Rex. No. Is there anything that's not a dinosaur? And then someone says, Brontosaurus. It's like, no.
That is not a dinosaur.
But is there anything else, right? And then there's little, and then she goes, are there anything else, anything else that you, some sort of wild animal that you think is amazing? And this little girl puts up her hand and says, my dad says that Samantha Fox is a wild animal and she's amazing. Oh dear.
You know what? That little girl wasn't wrong. Children speak truth. Okay.
And Samantha Fox, honestly, I'm not too sure. If you haven't, not part of the British Commonwealth, you may not know who Samantha Fox was. She was a page 3 girl from the 1980s who went on to be a singer.
Yeah, we had a bit of her
who she was?
in the US.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we know.
But I see you do know. I wasn't
I
too
do.
sure if Samantha Fox had made it to America, but anyway.
Oh, she had. I think she was like a one-hit wonder here, but yeah, basically.
Oh,
yeah,
I think she was like
as soon
20...
as she said who she was, I absolutely knew who you were talking about.
She was like I think she was more like a 20-hit wonder in Australia, but anyway.
Well, that might be the case, yeah. Well,
she had about 5 albums or something. It was actually quite a lot. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Samantha Fox.
What are we here to talk about?
We
then?
are here to
I
talk
didn't know
about...
there was something specific.
Like...
It could be really about
Oh, sorry, that's
Fox,
the wrong
like
theme
this
song.
whole-
Sorry, no.
Wait, what? What are you doing, Warren?
I was trying to do the theme song. Hang on.
Wait, our theme song?
No. Just
No. We don't have a theme
I screwed up
do
the
we?
introduction. Don't worry about that. Magnum PI.
Oh,
we have
okay.
been saying for the last 2 or 3 podcasts, we were going to talk about the modern incarnation of Magnum PI.
Oh my God. Okay. Do you know? Yeah, people in my household are mad at me because
Really?
I keep making fun of it. Yeah. It's not that I don't love the show. Like we've talked about this. I love the show. Okay. It's a guilty pleasure, but it's just awful. It's a terrible written show, like terribly. Excuse me, I dangled my participle, and that's very rude. I should know better than to ever do that. No.
Sorry. I'm being quiet.
Don't encourage me, please.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. I love the show. I think the new characters are great. I don't love... They have incorporated new characters that were not in the old version just to include characters that have disabilities and such. And it's not that I don't think that they should have characters that have disabilities. I also don't think any character should ever be brought in simply to be inclusive. I have a point. It's okay to have. Yeah, it's okay to have inclusive characters because I think that's important. But also, don't just shove them in there in a way that the audience can tell that they have no point. That they're there just simply to be a token. I don't like that. And I'm not going to say who it is, but if you guys watch this show, maybe you'll know.
Can you just remind me? I've got something to say about that because I believe that the idea is right. The way they did it was wrong. If it had been a member of their special forces team who had lost the use of their legs and they brought them in, I'd get it, and that would have worked well. But this idea of, like, if it had been a friend from... Anyway, sorry. I'll shut up.
Well, I actually wasn't sure whether or not he was a friend from back in the day.
No, he's not. He's not. They met him.
Okay, I think I remember that, like, at the beginning of the series.
Yeah, just his army. His army. They're all Navy. They're Navy Marines.
So, he's a veteran. And
he's the veteran that they meet. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you're going to include a character like that, write them some goddamn stories. Yeah. Write them a point. Don't make them a token character that just happens to be there from time to time. Now, in the last... maybe not the last episode, but the one before that, they kind of sort of brought him in with something. And I don't want to give it away because if you watch the show, I don't want to give you spoilers. They would have
seen it by now.
But well, you'd think. But, the thing with TC, like he wanted to bring him in and like teach him to fly the
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's this whole, I don't want to do it. Well, okay, look, I get the whole concept that they're saying this guy doesn't feel confident to do this thing. But I feel like, and maybe this is, and maybe, okay, it's not maybe. It's because of the overall arc of the terrible writing on the show. Okay. This is what I wanted to talk about. I love the show. I think the characters are great. I was iffy on the whole Higgins being a female thing, but I like who they chose. I think the chemistry is great. What I do not like is that they think that the audience that's watching literally cannot think. Like, we have no ability to have, like, abstract reasoning or thought while they're showing us the script. And maybe they're just trying, or while they're showing us the show. Maybe they are just really trying to reach out and touch every person in the world or in the country. And we know how far people have in varying IQs. And abilities to, think rationally and have abstract thought, like I just said. But I feel insulted every week by the writers. And I feel like the show's ideas are so base that it's almost insulting to anybody, even if you have a lower than average IQ. I just feel like they're lazy writers. And it bothers me that they would take an iconic show like that and take actual characters and actors that a lot of us who loved the original show for whatever reason have embraced. We've said, okay, I like this guy. Okay, I can buy it's a girl. And I like these new characters, or, these new actors playing these characters. I can wrap my head around it. But also, why is the writing so shallow? Why is the writing so cheap? You remember the original. Some of those episodes were deeply moving.
Oh,
they were
yes.
written in a way that you really had to pay attention throughout the seasons to understand the connections. It wasn't surface. And don't get me wrong, it was fun on a surface level if you had never watched an episode. But if you had watched every episode, you got way more stuff.
I mean,
you got it.
I mean, when Magnum is lying bleeding out in the middle of the street while his wife stands there and her new husband puts his arm around Michelle, and they walk off. I know Michelle. Sorry, Michelle. Sorry, yeah. But now it's like she is a traitor to the United States working for Muslim extremists. I don't get that. That's she was the love of his life. And the other thing too, in the original show, she still loves him. She's in a situation she cannot ever leave. She's trapped. But I don't know. Am I just being wrong here, or am I just
not? Because here's the thing: the characters from the old show had layers, and I've mentioned this before when I'm talking about characters and writing. If the people on your series or on your show or even in your movie, okay, even if you have an hour and a half minimum to tell your story, if your characters, good and bad, do not have layers, if the people watching do not see and really kind of empathize with one tiny little point in every one of your characters, then you have failed. I feel like the writers on Magnum are really going by the fact that they have characters that people love from the past. They have a great location. They have some hot cars. They have some cool action scenes, and they're leaving it at that. And that's what I feel so shitty about. I feel like it's not, you guys didn't have to do this. And it's not that the show isn't going to be successful because you did it, because it is. But I don't know, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there probably like me as you watch it, going, this is great, and also, oh my God, this writing sucks. Literally, I am, and people in my household are getting upset with me about it because I just can't stop laughing at it.
Can I just say a couple of things which are so different? First of all, original series. Okay, a series. I know, yeah. Okay, so Thomas Magnum in the original series suffers from serious PTSD, right?
Yes.
Okay. In the new one, he's not bothered by the war at all. It's just not right. Okay. In the original series, he has nightmares in almost every second episode about the war, right? Okay. His time as a prisoner of war was horrific. I mean, we're talking, we see the episode where it goes back to where he was, where Ivan in the original series was meant to be a Spetsnaz, a Soviet Spetsnaz operative working with the North Vietnamese army that took him captive. Now, when we actually, and that's, of course, did you see the sunrise this morning and, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I remember that one.
One of the most famous TV episodes I think that's ever been made. I mean, it's so quoted.
Who shot JR?
Well, it is a bit like Who Shot JR. Yeah, it's a bit like, did you see the sunrise this morning? If you don't know what we're talking about, just fucking Wikipedia.
Then go back
Thomas
and
Magnum.
Watch that shit or look it up. On
but the idea that he had serious problems coming from the war in South Vietnam. They're two. Everything, like Thomas Magnum in the original one, he was laughable. He had a rubber chicken and he did all this sort of stuff. But at the same time, he was a seriously troubled man. He was not, he was also a man who would literally fall into the arms of his mother and cry. Where this Thomas Magnum, his mother's dead, right? Like, it's like, I don't know. I just, like Thomas Magnum, the original Thomas Magnum, was a seriously flawed character, where this Thomas Magnum is like James Bond. He's like fucking perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I just don't think he's right. The thing that was so beautiful about the original show was that all of them were flawed characters. Even Higgins.
They were.
Higgins had his secrets that he was hiding from the world about, when the woman that he fell in love with and when he was 15, which forced him to run away from home and join the army as a private, even though he was a member of the aristocracy. All of this stuff is just, I don't know.
Layers, Warren, it's layers, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
This show now, again, guilty pleasure for me. I love it for the simplistic reasons that it's out there. But it's lacking the depth that the original had. And that's what I think is such a shame. And I of course have said, I should write a spec episode for this and just send it to them because maybe they don't understand what their show could be. And I think, again, that's my goddamn arrogance. But also I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that it doesn't have that because as somebody who I loved the original for that depth. I loved it even as young as I was. Now, if I go back and watch episodes or think about episodes, the episode where with the stopwatch, with his watch, where he was timing himself doing the treading in the water.
Oh, and then with the shark.
Where he had lost his boat and he was treading water. And it was such a wonderfully deep episode. And you're right, he had PTSD and he was a flawed human being. And this new guy, he's cute and it's fun. Oh, no. But it's not, it doesn't have that depth. And I think overall, with a lot of the shows that are out now, we lack depth. In the same way, and, I don't know how you guys are in Australia, but I think in America, especially these days, a lot of us just lack depth. And I think it's not just from...
It's a world thing, TV, I think, to be honest.
I don't know because we're Americans and we don't really think about.
We know each other. I think pretty well. Well,
yeah. Well,
And we've known each other for a long time. It's been more than a year, guys. So just in case you didn't
know.
More.
No,
I think the world's... I think if you even go... You can talk about what is the most left-wing democratic country in the world. Probably have to go to someone like Sweden or someone like that. Yeah. Truthfully, I don't think they're any different. They're not really any different. The television they watch is still the same. It's no different. I don't think there's a great deal of difference. There is a difference in the bullshit that they will believe. I mean,
yes,
right.
Come on.
You're not going to get QAnon exactly, carrying on in Sweden. But the whole point is that no, we're kind of the same. We're not that different. We're really not. We are pretty similar to each other. It's a bit like when we were off air. Don't worry, it's nothing. I'm going to say this is a problem. But I'm an Australian, you're an American. We speak the same language, but we only have about 90%, which is in common.
Yeah.
10% is actually different words, different ideals,
Yes.
different grammar, different meanings. Like, it's quite different. Now, in saying that, a lot of people sort of say, well, I'm Dutch, I can speak German. Duh. Yeah, I get
Warum
that,
bist
right?
du nicht zu Hause? That's the only
But the thing is...
Sorry.
But the thing is that it's like... It's... sorry. But I'm sorry. But it's yeah, it's the same thing, I suppose. It's like I actually was talking to someone I know the other day,
Yes,
and
yes.
And we were saying that we were talking about spelling, and we were saying that how we both agreed that. Oh, pardon me, I just burped. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's so rude. Sorry, that is so rude.
You have to admit, like, you didn't have to announce
Sorry,
it.
I thought you would have heard it. That was the problem.
I didn't hear a thing.
Okay. And we were saying how we absolutely detest anyone that doesn't spell colour with a U. Like, it's so wrong. And,
I don't like it that you guys feel like that about me.
No. We're talking about in Australia. We're not talking about...
No, everything is about me,
Yeah.
Warren.
We were talking about documents written in Australia, not documents written in the US. So, and anyway, we were talking about stuff, and then we both looked at each other, and I said, you know, the one that really gets me, and he just looked at me, and he goes, "Is it jail?" And I said, "Yes, it's jail." Absolutely,
Jail?
We hate
Really?
the American spelling of jail. Yeah, because
Well,
we
it's two different things.
No, but the problem that we have is that we feel it's like our culture's been... This is a little bit like, you know, when you go to a nation which is really small and they feel like they're losing their culture. Like everyone's been Americanized and so forth.
Right.
But that's a classic example, I suppose, in Australia of how Australia is losing its Australianness. That people in Australia are starting to spell jail the American way rather than the Australian way. And it's like...
How is the Australian way?
Well, jail, it's like it starts with a G, not with a J.
Oh. So you guys pronounce GIF as
No. It's a G-A-O-L. No, G-A-O-L, not J-A-I-L.
Wait, what? What? G what?
G-A-O-L.
G-A-O, jail.
Jail.
It's the same. Okay, so, but it means the same?
It's the same word. Yeah, it's just spelt differently.
Oh, wow.
Right, okay.
I didn't know that. I'm
okay.
fascinated now.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Yeah, but the thing is that so if you go to the Old Melbourne Jail in Australia, which is in Melbourne, which is a big tourist attraction, you can go and see a 150-year-old jail, see what it was like 150 years ago to be in jail, right? And it's a big tourist. It's a heritage site. And it's right in the middle of the city too, which just blows you away, right? And you can go in there and see it and everything, but it is spelt G-A-O-L. It is not J. And
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, and we get kind of like, because we sort of feel that it's like, come on, kids, because they are kind of the younger ones who do it. Come on, be proud of your country, support it. You know, you don't have to... Patriotism doesn't mean going to war. It just means... I don't know.
Spelling
you know what I mean?
words correctly.
Spelling words correctly.
Spelling words the Australian way? Or is it Australian?
You have to say Australian.
Australian.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Although that's Outback speech. That's Crocodile Dundee. Go Outback. Yeah, but the whole, but the whole idea is it's like. I don't know. It's like I saw an Aboriginal. I remember it was a number of years ago.
I didn't even know that I was insulting you when I said
No. But it was a few years ago, and I saw I've forgotten his name now. I cannot remember his name, but he was a very famous Australian Aboriginal representative, and so Indigenous Australian representative, and he was being interviewed on the ABC, and he said one of his biggest problems he had was you would go to a country town, and he said I looked at all these kids, and this was 20 years ago, right? He said I looked at these kids, and he said I looked at them, and they look like they've stepped out of Los Angeles. And it was like, where is their culture? Where is their heritage? He said, we have an 80,000-year-old culture. And they speak, dress, and talk like Americans. And he said, I'm really saddened.
Cool, right?
But he said, I'm really saddened by that. There's 80,000 years of history destroyed overnight.
I would like to know what their history is.
And he said, he was actually saying, I don't blame the Australian government for this. Like, this is just cultural, the way it happens. And he said, it's really sad. He said, I see kids with baseball caps, and it's not Australian. Baseball caps aren't Australian. It's like, I don't know.
You just want to rant about baseball caps and Americans now.
Oh, shut up now.
Fine.
Shut up.
No.
That was my goal. Shut up.
Nobody told you to shut up. You told yourself that, and I didn't tell you to shut up because Americans
Warren,
are a huge pains in the ass.
No, you're not. No,
you're telling me to shut up now.
No, I said me. I said Warren, shut up.
I know, I'm teasing.
I know. No, you guys are not. We choose whether we want to adopt the culture, right? You don't force it on us. We choose it, and
why would anybody want to adopt our culture? You're assholes.
I'll tell you right now.
It's
cheap, and I blame the TV. I blame the TV networks, and here's why. It's cheaper to buy American programs than to make your own on TV. That's why.
Is true there?
Did you know in Australia there are laws about how much Australian content must be on every network? Because there is a law. If you own a TV station, you must. I don't know what the percentage is. I'm sorry, but you must meet a certain percentage of that. And what a lot of people get pissed off about is that current affairs and news is incorporated into that. And they say, no.
Well, that's some bullshit.
Well, that's bullshit. No, because then all you don't do is, show current affairs, news, and then play American TV shows. We want Australian TV shows. And luckily, thank God, we have two networks called the ABC and the SBS, which are government networks which produce a shitload of Australian content. And the far-righters want to shut them down, and all I want to say is, fuck you, far-righters. We need them.
I feel like that in general about far-righters,
I know. They make Australian content. Why do the far-right want American TV shows, not Australian TV shows? They're the ones telling us that they're pro-Australian. That's the thing that blows my mind about them. You know what I mean? They're assholes.
I have a thought about that. I have a thought about why they want that.
Yeah.
Because the far right way of thinking, if you look at the American style of far right thinking, is to not think. It's to just look at something and look at it on the surface level and not really understand it, but just and again, if anybody listening is on the far right, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart,
they won't.
No, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, fuck you. You shouldn't listen to this show because none of us like you.
And can I just say? Can I just add to that? Can I just add to that and say, if you are listening, fuck off.
Yeah, no. Continue listening if you like to be abused. Yeah, I feel like a lot of them do.
No.
I do. Like I feel like they just ask for it.
I'm sorry. I have no time for fascists. I just don't.
No, I really no.
We spent 5 years kicking their ass. And how many people died in the Second World War? 100 fucking million? I don't know what.
Too goddamn many.
Right, to end fascism. No, we don't want you back. We don't want you back. Anyway.
There's always going to be people who don't think well, who are going to be of the fascist mindset. Yeah. They don't even understand that they're being fascist. And when you explain it to them, they don't accept it because they really can't think properly.
I know.
So I'm I've given up a lot of effort in trying to convince people. But yeah, if you are far right and you're listening to our show, then you must like the abuse. And if you do, good for you. Fuck off. So other than that, the rest of you guys, happy that you're here.
And do you know, I suddenly just realised, because I looked at the notes, because we did actually, yes, the Saint actually did write some notes, believe it or not.
You did, yeah.
And did you know
to keep us on track.
What we actually started saying an hour and 10 minutes ago? We started talking about The Office. And this is a perfect concept of, but I digress, because we have an hour of digression. Did you know?
Anybody talking to me knows this is a thing with me.
I know, right. Did you know that Jenna Fisher, who of course played Jan in the American version of The Office, that we were talking about before we got so right, she admitted on radio that it was all planned, and she knew that Jan's baby's father was meant to be Andy Roddick, the tennis player. So, there you go, if you didn't know. Sorry. I thought that was big news.
First of all, you didn't say spoiler alert, and I have no idea what you're talking about because, like I said, I didn't watch a lot of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, Warren,
well,
you have to tell people spoiler alert. Maybe they haven't watched that show. Just say, hey.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I had an Irish. It's 10 years old. I think they've seen it.
I know, but I just, like,
it's 10 years old. I think they've seen it. You know what I mean?
You don't.
It's,
well,
it's
you know what?
It's when I say, have you ever seen the end of The Wizard of Oz? Have you ever seen? It's like, I think they've seen the end of The Wizard of Oz.
I have to think about that now. Maybe I'm trying to think. Have I seen the end of The Wizard of Oz?
Or what's that other? Or was it Gone with the Wind? Do you know? I've never actually seen Gone with the Wind. Do you know? I've never actually watched it.
I've never seen that whole movie. I have seen.
But I've been told. I've been told it's actually kind of, if you haven't seen it, unless you want to see it for historical reasons, maybe don't watch it. It's like
it's very problematic, from what I understand. I do know though that the woman that played I don't know what her name was. I can't remember what her character's name was.
We're talking about a film that neither of us have seen, so this is really good.
Well, yeah, no, I can't remember the character's name, but it was the African American woman. I do believe, because she was a slave character in the movie, but I do believe that she won like the first Academy Award, like the first Oscar for an African American woman. And I could be completely wrong, and if I am, I'm so sorry. And somebody please tell me I'm a stupid white girl.
Okay, but if that is the case, then this movie is incredibly important. So I take all that back, and
I feel like
I'm sorry, because that's amazing if that's the case.
I feel like it's important. It might have been not like best actress, but I think it was best supporting. Is what I think it was.
Just an African American to be accepted in the 1940s is amazing. I mean, that's fuck me.
I think that movie probably is one to watch for a couple of reasons. One, maybe for that reason. Yeah. But also to really look at how society's mindset has changed and how we're getting better, even though they're baby steps, over time. I watch now. Okay, I used to be, and I'm still, I'm a huge fan of period movies.
Yeah.
And I loved, like growing up, I loved Shirley Temple films. Like I loved them. Okay, I loved her movies, and then so not that long ago, I rewatched one of them, caught it on like Turner Classic Movies or something. The Little Princess, I think it was called.
Is that the one where she tap dances with the amazing gentleman, African American gentleman who is an amazing dancer? I don't know who he is. And she does, who is meant to be her guardian or something in a southern house, and they do a tap dance together. Is that what you're talking about?
No, but again, problematic. But I know which one you're talking about. I can't remember the name of the movie. This one is about her being set in British colonial India. That her father was an officer in the British Army.
His daughter has an American accent, yes?
Yeah, well, she did. Yeah. She also was put in a boarding school, a very high-end boarding school in India, where her father was then supposedly killed in action. And then because he left her destitute with nothing, it was just the two of them. She had to work as a household worker then in the school. Okay, so this movie, which I loved, Littlest Princess or Little Princess, something like that, I watched not that long ago again, and I was shocked and horrified by the fact that I, of course, watching it as a younger person, didn't recognize the inherent racism in this film. And it's not that they meant for it to be that way. Of course, at the time, it's societal and systematic racism was just the way. And in this, the guy across, like, she's up in an attic as this new little slave girl in this household. And the guy across the way, there's this beautiful house that's built, and a man who is of Indian descent is a servant in the household, and of a very wealthy British man who's there. And you know what? I don't know if they were I think they were in Britain, back in Britain. I don't think it was actually in India, but they had been in India. And that's where they had been like the whole time. So I'm sorry, I digressed again.
Really?
But she makes friends with the Indian servant from across the way. And after this happens, he brings her lovely things. And then, like, because of the old man in the house who has these things, he's like, yes, this poor little girl, let's fill her attic room who's so cold with all these nice things. And then, okay, so I watched this movie and I was horrified. Because I had to realize that, holy shit, this movie that I loved is really super fucking racist when it comes to the colonialism of the British and how they treated the people of India. And as I've gotten older, like, these things that I didn't even realize were problematic as a kid. And my parents, let's be honest, like, they were never racist, like, never. But they also were not overtly anti-racist in a sense where I didn't hear anti-racism in the house. I just never heard racism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If racism came up.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
If it came up, my mother and father would absolutely say, that's a bunch of shit.
Irish, I deal with that every day. Do I say something? Do I not say something? I hear you. And in 2021, I'm still faced with that every day. So I hear you. Yeah. I
mean, I'm like, in first grade, the first little boy I ever liked, he was mixed. This little boy was named Nathan, and his mom was white and his dad was black. And my parents were shocked because we went roller skating, and like they talked to the mom, and they made the plans, and we went roller skating. Well, here was like, we met this little boy there and his family, and the family was mixed, and he was this light-skinned little boy with his...
Oh, hang on. We might have a slight issue, because this is fascinating. So we're just going to pause, and we'll be right back. We're back. Sorry about that. Please continue.
Okay, so you said I cut out. So right about the time I was telling you about this little boy, Nathan, who was my first, I'm going to say air quote, boyfriend from first grade. His parents were mixed. His white mom, black dad. And even though my parents were never, ever, ever racist people, when I asked for us to go roller skating, and they met the parents, and we got there, and there's this beautiful little light-skinned boy with this little afro, and he was adorable. And as I was just saying to you a second ago, I've always thought that the mixed children are like the most beautiful children, because I think they get the best qualities, like physical aspects, especially from both of their parents.
I want to be
from both sides.
And I agree. I want to be very careful how I say this, but you have people who have. Yes, it's a little bit like we're going to take the best of every culture and throw it into one person.
Yes,
and I agree. It's like they're supermodel material. Yeah, I get it. Yes. Yeah, I fully get it. Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes, like if there is a God, and a lot of people don't think that necessarily, but I like you look at children who are from mixed families and you see how beautiful they are, and you almost just wonder, isn't that maybe what we were meant to be? Like we were all meant to just go, you know what? It doesn't matter where you come from or where you look, what you look like, but you love who you love, and you marry who you marry, and you have children.
Are you talking about the Tower of Babel here, Irish? Because that's actually what you're talking about, isn't it? Really? I mean, the idea of...
I think the Bible is bullshit.
No, of course. No, wait, hang on. I was actually throwing in a red herring joke.
I know because I know about you.
Yeah. I was just saying, do you believe... I was just throwing in there.
No, because that's about language.
Wow, well done, Irish. Yes, I know you're spot on. That was why people technically spoke different languages, the Tower of Babel, I know. But so I'm just going to sit back and shut up now and let you talk. Sorry.
I think people forget sometimes that I was raised in the church, not in any kind of evangelical way, but I've read a lot. So I never wanted to have an argument or a discussion with somebody about something that I wasn't well versed on. If I wanted to make sure that
if I can just say this before I shut up, even though I'm introducing myself to say I shut up about the shut up or whatever, but I was brought up as an atheist, but I know more about Christianity than half the Christians I've ever met.
Yeah. I think most non-Christians know more about Christianity than the Christians do at this point. I think we can all say that. And I'm probably what some people would consider like an agnostic pagan. So which is a weird term. But what I was going to say is that my parents never would have once thought anything racist or told me anything racist, and I had experienced weird racism in a department store one time with a lady who told me not to try on the pretty hats whispered in my ear because black people try those on. And I didn't know what the hell she meant. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I went to my mother. I was 6 years old. And my mother went, oh, this is what she means. And then she told me, and I was just like, okay, that's disgusting. And my mom said, because she's a racist and this is what she's saying to you. And so my parents weren't racist, but they were also not necessarily, like I said, people who talked about it a lot. If it came up, it was pushed away and no, that's awful. But they were shocked when we went to the roller skating rink. And the kid that I wanted to meet, the little boy that I had the biggest crush on in the world at that moment, was this little boy, Nathan, and who was a light-skinned mixed boy. And so I think at the time, it's like people at that age, and my parents aren't, my mother was 18 when she had me. They're not that much old. They weren't that much older than me. But the way they thought was different. And I think over time, all of us in society is getting better and better and better over time. And I'm really, really happy about that. Well, I certainly am not.
Well, I don't know if I'm
having my moments.
I don't know if I've ever told the story, but there was a time that I brought home a Vietnamese girlfriend.
Oh, you told me.
I may not have told the world, but yes, I told you. And it's like, and my parents were actually like, yeah, so what? Like they didn't care at all.
Did you think that they would have an issue?
I was a little bit concerned, I have to admit. But then again, my parents had spent a lot of time in Asia, like because you have to remember, I'm not American, right? I'm Australian. So my parents had spent a lot of time in Singapore and Hong Kong, especially Singapore. And my parents actually would end up living in Singapore, but that was actually later. That was actually not at this point in time. It was actually, they didn't think twice. In fact, my father was more fascinated by my girlfriend's father's war record. Like it was almost like he wanted to know, because it turned out that my girlfriend's father was in the South Vietnamese Rangers. This is like the commander. Well, you know what Rangers, US. You know what Rangers are, right? He was in the South Vietnamese Rangers. He wasn't just a bloody dog's bullet soldier like I was. He was cool. Not only he had ranked, he was a corporal. He was a corporal in the South Vietnamese Rangers. He was the serious business. In other words, he didn't fight for 1 year. Like, this guy fought for like 5 or 6 or 7 years. He was a professional soldier. And so my father was a little bit like, "Ooh, your dad's pretty cool," you know, and my mother just was just sort of saying, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful." It's my fucking mother, just the way she is, you know. "You're so beautiful." Oh, you know. And I swear my mother is a closet lesbian, seriously, sometimes. Right. But they were absolutely wonderful. They never had any issue at all. But, you know, so you can be surprised. You can hear people say racist comments, and then suddenly they have to live in a multiracial world, and they're fine with it. I do think there are a lot of people who just get caught up in the bullshit of life. They're not racist, they're not bigoted, and they just get caught up in it, you know? And it's like, if you throw them into a truly multicultural society, they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, well...
You know, okay. But then again, there are the Trumpists, and
you know what? I don't even think it's necessarily always that. I'm just going to say that, and I'm not trying to say anything about my mother because I adore her, in a lot of ways.
Okay, just be
No,
really
I'm
careful.
on the show. No, I'm not saying anything bad.
Right,
I'm just saying. I think
Irish,
that sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Warren,
right. Yeah, sorry. Shut up now.
Do you hear me telling you no?
Yeah.
I know what I'm saying.
I know. I was putting up the last barrier, then I said, "All right, that's okay."
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the thing is that I think sometimes we have to remember that the older generations came, and this is the same thing I was talking about that article I've been writing, about how when certain policies or certain mindsets come into play, societally, we are in a different place when it comes to things. And earlier and earlier we go, the worse and worse sometimes we have been. Even back to when progressivism started in America, when the policies that are still being promoted through the progressive ideology, and I am more and more progressive every day. I hope you guys understand that. I'm not saying anything against progressivism. I am saying that I think we have to recognize that when those policies that we are still pushing in the exact same way, that came into play way, way back in our history, it was at a time when societal racism was the norm. White people didn't think at all about whether or not the policies they were making were going to necessarily affect people of color in a negative way. And that being said, they didn't think about people of color in their policies. And it is reflected in today's American progressivism in a lot of ways. And I have really had to take a step back as I started to look at the progressive ideas and try to start to incorporate them, going, wait a minute, that makes sense to me. And I understand this. I also really, really had to take a step back and also go, hey, these people of color who are telling you guys that the things that are being said are problematic, and the pushback from the white progressives has been really, really kind of awful in a lot of instances. And just because there is a black person here and a black person there that align themselves with those ideologies, I also see sometimes those people saying some pretty fucking horrific things too. So I'm just going to say people of any color can be awful. I just think that American progressives need to, especially white progressives these days, need to really, really take a step back and look in the mirror and ask themselves if these policies are really benefiting everybody, or if they're benefiting the white people mostly and trying to drag people of color along. Because I have had people attack me who were supporters of the Rose faction, calling me a centrist because I stated that it wasn't racism that caused It's not income inequality that causes racism. Income inequality does not cause racism. But I'd be goddamn to tell you right now that racism causes income inequality in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. And it's systematic. I don't know about in other countries, but here in America, it's fucking systematic. And if you can't recognize that as a person that lacks melanin, then you don't belong in the discourse. You need to shut the fuck up and listen to others and really start thinking about who you are and where you came from. Because we have a real problem in America, even now, in the left, even with racism, that people want to pretend isn't happening. And I just would like us all to maybe stop being so arrogant about our own ideologies and fucking listen to other people who have the same concepts, but maybe have a different perspective.
Well, there's a certain little thing going on at the moment in Palestine, which I'm sure people.
Little thing. Yes.
Yeah, I know. And I saw someone on Twitter make the comment, and it was, and I've seen this before. So, and if everyone says you've said that before, Warren, yeah, it's kind of because it's identical to what I saw 6 years ago, to when pretty much the identical situation happened. I think was it 2014? I think it was, to where we are right now. And I saw someone say, if you see a Jew in the street, punch him in the face. And it's a bit like, no, that's not helping anyone. All right, right? That's not helping anyone. And it's like, this is a national thing. It's not a fucking religious argument. This is a national argument, right? And it's all comes because the Palestinians never got a fucking nation. Israel got a nation, and the Palestinians didn't. Now, if they want to go to war and fight over the boundaries, that's up to them. But the problem was the Palestinians never got a fucking nation as Israel got a nation. And that's what it's all about. And the other thing, too, is if I hear one more person talk about the Arabs, don't give me that shit, because Jerusalem, one of the biggest arguments about this fight between the Palestinians and the Israelis, used to belong until 1967 to Jordan. Jordan kicked the PLO out of their own country. In fact, they fought a war to kick them out, right? So don't give me this Arab-Israeli shit. It doesn't count. It's bullshit.
You know.
But what I am going to say is that, can I just say this? Is that because of my family history, I fucking side with the Israelis every fucking day. But they're not right in this issue. They're not. I'm sorry, but they're not. The Palestinians have a right to a nation. They really do.
Right,
and in the same way that they are asking for the same thing that the Jews asked for in 1946.
Yes. Thank you.
It is the
oh
same
my God.
fucking
Thank
thing.
you.
Right? And now I will defend Israel till the cows come home. But Palestine needs to be a nation. And yes, it needs to be. And
well, the only solution is a two-state solution at this point. I
disagree with you. I believe. Okay, I'm pro. Can I just say this, and I'll shut up, and then you can go for it, right?
Yeah.
Because I know we don't fully agree on this, right? But
you have to.
But because there are some things we're not going to fully agree on, if you know what I mean.
No.
But I believe that there should be an Israel and there should be a Palestine. There should be two independent countries. They should form their own.
That is a two-state solution. That's what I just said. And you had disagreed with me.
Sorry.
A two-state solution.
I thought you said one country, two solutions. Sorry.
No.
Oh, fuck me. Sorry. We agree. Okay, it turns out that Warren was drunk and he actually agrees with fucking
I started out drunk, though. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
All right, okay,
I agree with that.
I'll shut up now. We agree. So there we go.
Well, because, all I was going to say before, was I actually, for years, because I didn't understand the history of what had happened over there. Okay. I really didn't. I was very pro-Israel in the concept of, like, in my mind, the Israeli people had been through so much. Like, of course, we should do whatever we can for them, right? It wasn't until somebody said to me, well, wait a minute, don't you know the history? And I was like, wait, what do you mean? And I'm going to admit, I didn't know. And I was older than I should have been before I knew. And when I found out, I was horrified. Okay. I was horrified about how, and I say this from time to time, even now on my new Twitter, which is weird for me to mix both my personal and political stuff. But I do say that I am disgusted by the fact that the oppressed have become the oppressors.
I know.
I don't understand how the Jewish state, in a sense, that they've gotten because of what happened and everything that happened to them, and then how we took land from the people that were there, the Palestinians, and we've done all these things. And it's not just this time. That land has been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between tons and tons of different cultures, people coming in and conquering each other and all these things. Okay. But I thought that the end all was basically for a long time that the people of Israel had been so persecuted that what was done for them was justified. Okay. But I didn't understand what was happening now. And so here's the way I have to look at it. I am absolutely behind Jewish people, absolutely, in any way that I can be. What I am really against is Zionism, and I am absolutely against what Israel, the state of Israel under Netanyahu and people like him, have become. That they have taken a place of being the oppressors now. They are doing the same thing to the Palestinian people under the guise of protecting themselves in the same way that the fucking Nazis did to their people.
Sorry, can I just say?
Yeah.
Maybe not quite the same.
Well, okay. I'm not. Okay, please don't think that I mean on the level of the Holocaust, because yes, it happened, and yes, it's fucking abhorrent.
The Israelis are not putting everyone into gas chambers.
No, they are not. Okay, but I'm saying that what they are doing to the people of Palestine, and they're saying it's disgusting. I mean, the people can't have concrete, they can't have chocolate, they can't have basic necessities, and on top of that, the settlements that the people in Israel are pushing, they are taking people's homes, not just once. They're moving into these areas that are the small, and so the Palestinian areas are growing smaller and smaller, but they're going in over time, multiple times in even one person's lifetime, and not only like taking everything they have and pushing them out.
Yeah.
And so the people are fighting back in the only way they can. And I know that they're Hamas, and I know that they're looked at as terrorists, and I know that they do commit atrocities in the same way that I feel like the Israeli state at this point, the state of Israel through Zionism is committing atrocities to them as well. And I can only think about, when I hear these things, about how they're firing into residential areas. They're firing into civilian areas. They're killing children. They're killing because Hamas is firing back. But here's the thing, guys. I just want you to think about if somebody else was coming into where you live, into your town, into your neighborhood, and telling you at gunpoint you have to leave because they're going to take your land and they're going to like other people are going to live there, or they are bombing your homes and murdering people there because you won't do that because you are fighting back against that. How is that any different than any time in history any people have been trying to defend their homeland against invaders or people who are oppressing them? I just don't see how we can look at these two cultures as anything different from each other. And I don't understand how even now the state of Israel and the people in Israel who support the state of Israel and the things that they're doing can't understand how they are perpetuating this, like another type of oppression.
There's the one thing I do need to say, and that is that you lived through 4 years of Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A good 50% of the nation didn't support Trump, right?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, well, more than that, I would think, but accept.
Now, just remember that it's taken 3 elections for Netanyahu to stay in power, right? Every time they can't find a result, they have to go back to the polls. It's so
I'm not blaming the people of Israel.
The people of Israel are not anti-Palestine. This is the thing.
No.
Right? I mean, I just because
please don't think I'm saying that. I'm talking about the government.
Oh no! I fully get you. I'm not a supporter of Netanyahu.
The Jewish people.
Well, fuck me. I understand the fact that his brother was killed at, in fucking Entebbe. I mean, I fully get that. I mean, I really was it his brother that was killed in Entebbe? I mean, I'm
not sure, but I do know he had losses. But I think a lot of people had losses.
And I fully get it, and that was done directly by. Well, they claim the PLO, but it would also be argued that that was actually planned by Baader Meinhof, which is a German group.
Right.
Oh, here we go. Now we're fucking
we're getting into the conspiracy stuff, but I'm not against thinking about it.
I hate to say this. The leaders of fucking the Entebbe hostage raid were German, part of Baader Meinhof. They were not PLO. PLO may have funded it, but it was done by Baader Meinhof. They were Germans. You speak to any person who was there, they will tell you that the people walking around us with machine guns spoke with German accents and had white skin.
Well, there's always going to be somebody pushing their way into somebody else's conflict for power.
Well, which also blows my... Anyway, but I just... I just talked about this.
I know it's a lot of shit, and see, that's the thing that I had to actually realize that myself as an adult at the time. Okay, I actually had ideas that didn't make sense because I didn't know the whole story. Like I didn't get it.
But the thing that blows you away, right, is that Netanyahu hates the idea of fascism. Yet I think it was his brother who was killed. I don't know his brother, his sister, whoever the fuck it was, who was killed at his relative that was killed at Entebbe, right? Was killed not by a Nazi, but killed by a fucking communist. That's it's so, because Baader Meinhof were not fascists. They were fucking like. I don't know. Like it's so
is not okay.
But the
communism is an economic system, not a political system.
No. But what I mean is, we're talking about things that happened in the 1970s, and we're trying to relate them back to now in 2021. Now, the world is a totally different place.
Absolutely, and I guess that plays back to what I was saying: is that our parents. Some of the things they thought, even things that we thought when we were younger. You do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, you do better. I think that was a quote from somebody. I can't think of her name right now, and oh my gosh, she's an amazing poet, and she's dead, and I'm sad, and I can't think of her name. A lot of gin. I've had a lot of gin.
It's all right, but look, all I can say is that I just thought I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm an Australian. I only
own cats.
Cats.
They own me.
I hope you fucking can sort this shit out. I really do.
No, we can't because we're humans and we suck. But I just hope we all try to do better.
Yeah.
Like I just please you guys, just please realize we all have our prejudices and we all have our biases and we don't even know we have them sometimes. So just please stop living in a bubble. Don't listen to just people who think like you. Go out there and actually listen for real to people and try to understand where they're coming from. You don't have to agree with them. But it doesn't mean you also, like, we don't have to be shitty to each other just because we don't necessarily see things from the same perspective.
Yeah.
That being said, still all the right-wing people can fuck off because they're just racist assholes.
Of course they are. They're assholes.
Sorry.
So we spent, was it 5 to 6 years kicking their ass?
Oh.
Yes, there's a certain respect that we get from that. We kick their ass. They're not coming back. All right? End of story.
Yeah,
we
crying,
kick
right?
their ass. I still love that thing. You know, the beautiful picture of the landing craft opening, and they're actually British, they're actually Canadian soldiers, actually.
I thought we were talking about aliens for a minute.
No, which is the famous meme, because it's always that thing of
Ancient aliens.
The Canadians, and it just says Antifa people. Yeah, and you see Canadian soldiers, you know, landing on Normandy Beach.
Right?
Yeah, and I think
America has been Antifa since like 1942 or something.
Yeah, I know. Yes. Yeah. So all those people say Antifa are fucking no. Hey, maybe talk to your presidents. You know, like Roosevelt and Truman. Oh. Yeah, you were anti-Antifa then. You were pro-Antifa. Sorry. Oh, fuck me. Don't worry.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say.
No, Antifa is an organization, and one of my stepbrothers. I'm just going to say stepbrother now because it's bad.
I said to someone, go on. I'll tell you something. Go on.
Well, yeah, no, I was just going to say he's not biological, thank God. One of them believed that recently, because one of the gentlemen that was killed by cops in Virginia recently, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name. Again, too much gin, and it's too late. But he was killed by cops, and my brother tried to tell my mom that he had to leave work early because they were shutting the entire town down because they were bringing the BLM buses in to have a riot in this. And it was just like, dude, what the fuck are you even talking about? And he made it up, and it was such ridiculousness. And then we called him on it, and now he doesn't talk to us this week. So,
I've had people say to me. I've had people actually say to me, "Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization." It's like, what the fuck?
Oh my god, it's the same shit. Yes.
So I'm sorry. What are you doing? First of all, Black Lives Matter is not an organization. It's a catchphrase. It's a terminology.
They were bringing the BLM buses in.
Okay. So
about?
if you're saying that so-and-so is a Marxist organization, tell me what that group is, which has linked itself, right? So which has linked itself to BLM, right? And if you want to then ask me to comment whether that particular group is Marxist, I will give you an opinion. But BLM is a term. It's like saying Surf City. No, it's not a fucking town, right? Surf City is
anti-apartheid. That was Sun City. Sun City, that was that, right? Sun City was the anti-apartheid.
No, that was a real place. That's a
I'm saying, but it was like, they said like something about not playing Sun City or something like that. Was a whole anti-apartheid message, right?
Well, Sun City was a holiday. Okay, for anyone who's not old enough to know what fucking Sun City is.
Old.
We're not. Well,
no.
Yeah, we are. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. I've got 3 years on you, but we're the same fucking age, right? So anyway, the Sun City is a place in South Africa which, during the apartheid era, it was kind of like this holiday resort, and people would go there, and they would pay huge amounts of money, like for pop bands and singers and so forth to go there.
Tons.
And so the elite of South Africa, and I mean the elite, because you remember there are poor white South Africans. So I think a lot of people forget that when we all talk about South African history.
Really?
The vast
they
majority,
forget there were poor South Africans?
Well, yeah. No. There were poor white South Africans. I think a lot of people forget that. Everyone thinks all the white people are rich and all the black people are poor. That's kind of not the way South Africa worked. But
I think that's not the way.
No. It's just not the way any
Not
country was.
necessarily.
But because I did hear one South African once say, for fuck's sake, I'm labelled as a racist. I was fucking thrown into the gutter, right? Like, you know, and I'm labelled as a criminal. And I don't get that. You know, I fully get that. You know, you can't hate someone because their skin colour. Because otherwise, you're just reverse racism. Like, you've got a guy who drives...
straight up racism. It's not reverse racism.
Well, that's right. You've got a guy in the
racism.
1980s who drives a garbage truck. And you're trying to say that guy or that girl is somehow or other part of a white supremacist movement? No, they just got the only job they could find. Their race had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So I do get that. You know, there are people who get, you're right, so who get caught up. But where are we going? Yes, we did. Sun City. So, and it brought up, there was a song written. It's a bit like, you know, feed the world. Right. So it was a bit like all the various different, Christ, was it, what nation was it that was going through a famine at the time? I don't remember.
Africa?
Actually, well, no, it wasn't Africa. Well, no, because 70% of Africa had more than enough food to eat, so it wasn't Africa. But that's the thing Africans always say. Why do you call us a nation when we're a continent?
They're not. It's a continent.
We have our own country.
It's because we get confused with you guys who are a continent and a nation.
Oh, well, actually, yes. I understand Australians would throw that, yeah. But I've heard a number of Africans sort of say, for fuck's sake, we have nothing to do with them. You know?
Oh,
you know,
it's true. Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, so anyway, it was during apartheid. So this is pre-1990, before the fall of
Oh, yeah.
Right. And there was a song that was done which was called Ain't Going to Play Sun City. Right? Ain't Going to Play Sun City. And it was a whole heap of different people, because Sun City was meant to be this white fucking oasis in South Africa. And it achieved absolutely fucking nothing, but it made people feel good at the time. And I don't have a problem with that. If it made a black South African feel good about themselves, great. It achieved something, right?
I feel like what they were doing with the song was raising awareness to Americans, especially, about what was going on there. Because, you know, celebrities in America, they like to have a cause. They like to get behind. But them doing that, honestly, did teach me, even as a young person, that there was some shit going on in South Africa. Like, there was racism and horrible things going on there. Again, as an American, I wouldn't have thought about that initially. So I don't have any issue with them doing that. I'm glad that people were at least raising awareness. But, you know, it was also a huge douchey, trendy thing to do, to do that without actually doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, they raised awareness, but they didn't really do.
My attitude is a bit like, do you remember, Free the World? You know, like,
yeah,
right.
What was it? Not Farm Aid. We had that, but it was something else.
No, not Farm Aid. It was just,
no, we had Farm Aid here.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, so yeah, help the white farmers. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, at the time, we thought, and we still should actually be doing that, but they shouldn't be corporations and big. We should be doing family farms.
I hate to say this, a first world country needs to hold a concert to run Farm Aid. Why isn't the government looking after its own people?
Because it's America.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Remember who you're talking about?
Yeah, I know. But it's like a lot of the. I mean, I've heard interviews. Do you know Bananarama? Right? The band.
Yes, on the mountain top.
Now they.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to sing anymore.
Well, they were part of that fucking thing that happened in the 80s, right? And
a lot of fucking things.
No, I've heard interviews with all three girls who said we had no idea what we were doing. We just went along because our agent said do it. It'll be good for you.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
They had no fucking idea. So you know these people coming up on stage saying, Africa, whoa! They had no idea what they were even protesting against. They just were told, say the word Africa as you walk onto stage. Like, they had no fucking idea what was going on.
ABBA didn't even speak English, and they were singing English.
It was a decade before, but I get what you're trying to say.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was an anecdote.
I know. Yes, true. What's that? When someone walks onto a stage and they go, St. Louis, while they live in their multi-billion-dollar thing in Saudi Arabia.
I feel like there's some bitterness.
No, I just think it's bullshit.
Don't make me feel shitty for driving a Jaguar. Okay?
Your Jaguar's 20 years. I just sold my Alfa Romeo. You make me feel bad.
I know you did.
Oh, do you know how much I miss it?
Do you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I really do. No, seriously, because when I drove the Alfa, no, fuck you. Sorry, not you.
Oh!
No, not you. I meant in life. I didn't mean you. Sorry,
I thought you were propositioning me. No.
I felt like fucking James Bond, right? None of this. Here we go. Quantum of Solace, the car chase, was with Alfa Romeos. They used it was. I mean, it was.
You know how I feel about Daniel Craig.
It was such a cool car. It was like, I mean, I hopped into that in a suit, and I felt like, yeah, like it was so. But you get to a point where you say practicality of life has to, but oh my god, it honestly, I feel like I was about to say I've just lost my wife. I didn't mean to say that. That was and that was really fucking weird. That's not what I meant. Yeah. What I meant is I feel like I've lost something. It's not quite right. I hop into my new car. I don't feel comfortable. Like, I really don't feel like comfortable. And the other thing is that, but I'm starting to enjoy it more because it's German and it just fucking works. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's the kind of car you slap on the chassis and have them call you names. That's the kind of one, you know.
Yeah. There was a guy at work who actually said to me, "How you enjoy?" I'll tell you the full story. A guy actually said to me, "How do you feel about your new car? Are you enjoying it?" And I said, you know what? Every day I drive it, I appreciate it more and more. Appreciate. Not love, right? Appreciate it more.
Kind of like,
And I fully get it was what I needed for everyday life. It truly was. Like, it suits me down to the T for everyday life.
You know what? I think when I hear you say that.
But, and I said to them, I have this idea, though, that I've... Oh, pardon me, I just burped again.
My God.
Did you hear that? Sorry.
I did. It is gross, but thank you for saying excuse me.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. Oh, God.
Okay, but
I'm sorry.
You need to finish talking about this car.
All right.
Because I have thoughts.
And I said that, you know what, this is so practical, but I said, the other one, my last one, and remember, my last car was an Alfa, but the car before that was an Alfa, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like, like I've had two Alfa Romeos, and before that was a Mini Cooper. So they've been kind of, and as Amanda used to say, Mini Cooper, why the fuck are we I wanted to go down that path. And I said, it's my fucking money. I don't even go down this path. I think I actually said it's I earn the money. I think I actually said that.
Oh, Lord.
No, I seriously think I did say that at one stage.
Oh.
And I think I actually had a look like I'm going to stab you right now.
I bet you did, yeah.
And I do remember actually not being punched, but being pretty fucking close to be. You ever been open palmed punched? Where it's like it doesn't. It's a punch, but it doesn't really hurt. But you're,
my sister slapped me once. Not my good sister, the dumb one.
Oh yeah. I'm buying the mini, but then she said, "This is so cool." And I said, I asked you to come to the car dealership and you said you wouldn't come. Anyway, we're not going down that path. Where the fuck were we? We were talking about...
What I think
the second
is that when you say this about the car that you have now, that you are describing, I think it reminds me so much of what I think a lot of men do, is that you don't marry your dream girl. You marry the girl that's convenient at the time.
No, I don't. I marry my dream girl.
And you are not married to
No, I'm sorry. I marry... Okay, if you want to say, these men all fantasize about women. I married a fucking porn star. No, yes, I married my dream. No, this... Well, I'm not actually a porn star, but you know what I mean.
No, but also, it wasn't really. You didn't marry her. You guys were together.
Sake, it's Australian law, for fuck's sake.
Oh, okay. Well, see here. There's the thing, though, is that's not the real commitment. I think a lot of people do.
Well,
I'm not saying you personally, but she was also. Yeah,
2 years.
I was talking about
married.
cars.
Oh, cars. All right. Well, I did say to her, "What do you think about a Beetle?" Because we did think about buying a second car, right? Which was very complicated because what do you call it? Is it a DUI? Is that drunken?
There's driving under the influence is a DUI. DWI driving while under.
She had some.
I don't know that from an experience.
Okay, she has had some problems in her past, shall we just say?
A lot of people have, man.
Okay, and which meant that any car that we had to fit a certain fucking $1,000 thing to the car, right? Right? No. In other words,
I get you. You. That's funny.
So she had to breath test the car to drive it, right? And I'm glad you find this funny. At the time, I thought this was a fucking joke. I thought, are you fucking serious? So we buy a car, we paid $1,000 just so you can drive it? She goes, oh, would you want to sleep with me? Yeah, all right, fair enough, all right, we'll just do it, yeah. So, And
I just want to say, you didn't marry her, you just were fucking her. That's the good part about that, and that's what the difference is. No. In
Australia, it doesn't work like that. 2 years we're married in the story.
That's
Bang,
common.
done.
That's
so it's common law. It's done. Everything was shared.
There was no marriage license. There was no legal marriage. You had a common law marriage. Same shit you can have in America. After 7 years, I think. But that's not the point. I'm saying the point is that the reason why you guys had that relationship is because you weren't legally fucking married to each other. That's why she was a hot porn star and you were able to do that.
She was not a porn star. That's a joke. Right,
no,
guys,
I know. I didn't mean it like a real porn star.
She was not actually a porn star. I just want people to know.
No, you've said that. No, nobody's going to think that.
Yeah, okay.
That's not, no.
That's a joke.
I feel like sometimes, it's not a joke though in a sense because I feel like a porn star sometimes.
It's not a joke in the fact
it's
that
she did. Warren, nobody's going to accuse her of being one.
We're not going down that path right now. So let's just not go down that path.
No, I'm just saying nobody would accuse her of being one. I was just saying in general, like in your bedroom, in a sense. I wasn't meaning
no. She was a butt of porn star in the bedroom.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I meant. I didn't mean like professionally or something.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry.
I said that's why I feel like I'm also a porn star at times. Okay?
Well, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Every woman is a porn star.
The problem is you miss that because
every
too much
woman
to
is a
drink.
porn star. I've had too much. Yeah. It's just,
we should end
yes.
this. We should because
we should?
Yeah, it's late for me.
All right.
It's 2:15 a.m. and I haven't had enough gin to keep up with whatever it is you're drinking tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's do that. Well, I think
let's do that.
All right, we've hit 2 hours. I think that's pretty good. I think that's all right.
Is.
So
it's the
let's
last Saints Martini episode.
Right, so this is
technically
the last Saints Martini. So for anyone who loves the Saint, all right. Look, we're going to be back next week. Exactly
yes, we're
the
just
same.
new name. That's all.
Okay,
and a new logo.
And anyone who listened to this show maybe has a little bit more of an insight into my love of the Saint. Anyway,
you can still be the Saint, Warren. We've talked about this. You can still keep
I'll always be the fucking Saint. It's done. But anyway, all right.
And my halo will always be held up by my horns.
Oh, dear. It's amazing how that... Oh, no, don't worry about it. Anyway, so we are done. So...
Cakes are done.
No, good.
Oh.
All right, so anyway, anything we want to say before we say goodbye?
I mean, because we're still coming back next week. It's just we're going to change the name.
So,
that's it.
It was all said before, so, all right. So it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from him. The two Ronnies, if you ever watched it. Anyway, anyway, I'll just say cheers, guys. Goodbye.
Cheers, then.